questions. Have you ever thought you were so in love with someone and then it turned out that what you were actually in love with was every insecurity you ever had that you weren't willing to let go? Have you ever had a big, amazing dream that just seemed so unattainable until you actually attained it? Have you ever been afraid? Have you ever had anxiety? Have you ever wanted to do great and wonderful things and also wanted to pay your rent? Have you ever been through some really tough stuff? And I don't mean like vanilla tough stuff. I mean like really, really tough stuff. And people have no idea because you just keep pushing and going forward. How do you feel about your exes? Have you ever lived on your own before for the first time? Have you ever done a DIY project because you wanted to create something that was so uniquely yours and you couldn't find it in the store? Have you ever been on a dating app? Have you ever wanted to just date someone who matched your vibe and then convince yourself that the good time you were having every time you dated was attributed to someone else's vibe as opposed to your own? Have you ever tried to grow something? Whether it was your hair or a plant or your bank account. Have you ever been married? Ever been divorced? Because I've done all these things and I think that gives me a pretty unique experience. I am a writer first, a lover second, a dog mom probably like before all of those things. I'm a tethered wanderer at the moment and I want to share a piece of my safe space with the larger collective because I got a lot of stuff to say. I spent most of my young adulthood trying not to be something, and it was because I grew up pretty rough, and thankfully when I became 18, it was my choice finally to like live my life the way that I thought was best. And so what I thought was best was like essentially not messing up ever. I used to be a person that cared a lot about what people thought about me. So for the 4 years that I spent in college, I did everything I could to like look good on paper, right? So I was like, I'm gonna get good grades. I'm gonna be a part of the track team and I'm gonna be a cheerleader and run cross country and throw javelin and have the boyfriend and be in extracurriculars, and I didn't drink until I was 21, and all of these things that I thought mattered in my, late teens, early 20s. And that continued on into my young adulthood, and it all shaped who I was by the time I moved to Los Angeles after my undergraduate. And so at almost 30, all these years later, I woke up and I was like, I'm tired of this. This crap is exhausting. Perfection and my ideas of perfection are much different than like other folks' ideas of perfection. But I lived my life under the guise that I didn't want to mess up. And so I woke up one day, I was 27, had a master's degree. I lived in Los Angeles. I had a new car that came out that year. I had a luxury apartment in Los Angeles, which just means that it was like a new building and the amenities were pretty nice, but luxury would have been like a couple hundred more square feet. Anyway, I was 27 and miserable, absolutely miserable. And so I took that as the opportunity to begin living my life with intention. And it's only been 3 years this fall that I finally decided to take reins in my life independently. And so that husband that I was talking about, dropped him off, and I just started living every day as if I had a choice to do so and not as if it were chosen for me. I have like just lived this amazing, amazing life. And I have many stories that I want to share. I have, you know, some good insight on dating after marriage. I was gonna say dating during marriage, but no. Dating after marriage. Well, no, actually dating while in marriage too, because while I chose to leave my marriage, we had some pretty good times too. And so I have some good insight on that. I am a writer, and every year I am getting closer and closer to being like a 100% creative, and it just feels good. It feels so good. I'm also navigating the world of dating as a 30-year-old woman in a new city, and that's interesting. I've had some success, if success is under like the gauge of like, have I had a good time? Have I had some great laughs? Have I eaten well? Have I had some good sex? Yeah, so join me on my journey. I've got so much to share. I intend to share this couch with folks and to have many conversations, a couple of cocktails. I want to hear other people's stories. My absolute favorite thing is when my friends send me their like sex stories, and not even in like a raunchy way, but sometimes in a raunchy way. But I'm just the friend that like people feel free enough to come to with like the stuff that like they feel like people will judge them for, or like, nah, bring all that here. So if you guys have any stories, whether they're like fun dating stories, experiences, I'd love to hear them. I love to read about them. I'm a writer of poetry and essays, so you'll see that as well. I like to cook. I also have an affinity for sleeping. Yes. So, any of those things sound like something you'd be interested in, let me know.